If you're not able to develop that trust, things can fall apart rather quickly.
Maybe this has been not immediately understood by the people who are in leadership. How should leaders think about trust and how to make it grow? Hello, Jordi. Thanks for taking my call.
How are you?
Very good. Very good. Thank you. I was going to ask you about your latest book. I saw you wrote a book about trust. Priceless. Trust is priceless. And I was going to ask you to tell me a little bit more about it. Why is trust important? Why did you write this book?
Well, thanks for asking me, Franz. I wrote this book because, as you know, I was trained as an economist and very sophisticated mathematics and all these models. And then when I spent 15 years in banking, in the business world, day to day, I realized that many of the models were missing this important element in human relations, which is trust. It's basic in human relations, but more so even in our economic system, where you have to interact with many people, get deals done. You have to motivate your employees, and if you're not able to develop that trust, things can fall apart rather quickly. And that was the motivation behind the model, behind the book, to try to combine economic theory, which I still believe it's important, economic analysis, with more practical knowledge of what's going on in businesses and in the economy.
Okay. You were a faculty member at IESE for many years and then took a leave to go and work in business, particularly in the financial sector. You've been with one of the largest banks here in Spain, and you've been the chairman of the bank, so you've seen quite a bit of the reality in the financial sector of trust. And now you have a more realistic view, say, of what really matters. Trust. How are things going with trust? You talk about it in a book that it's important that there's trust, but are we doing well on the trust front of things?
Trust has been declining in two dimensions. One, it's important, which is the trust in our leadership, our political leadership, but also it's even more worrisome the fact that trust in others, trust in your fellow citizens that are not your family, not your close friends, has also declined. And experience and economic analysis and empirical work shows that societies that are able to maintain a high level of trust in others end up doing better in social and economic terms. That's why it's important to restore that fabric of social trust. The fact that you can reach deals with third parties which are not close to you ex ante, but you meet them in business terms, and you don't have to end up writing all those contracts with so many details, because a handshake ends up being respected, and you anticipate that, and you get the deal done, and it's very important. Trust in political leadership is also important, and as you know, liberal democracies are also under pressure because of the huge political and economic changes and technological changes that we're going through. So both political leaderships and we as citizens have responsibilities to restore trust.
And you mentioned change that we're undergoing in different fronts. You talk about it quite a bit in your book. There's change in business, let's say in society from an economical perspective, also from a political perspective, and you also spend quite some time explaining that when there is a lot of change, it's particularly difficult to meet everyone's expectations. No, on the side of if you are in charge, if you have authority, be it political, economic, or of any other type, and so. Maybe this has been not immediately understood by the people who are in leadership, but from your perspective, and after the study that you have done now on trust, What do you recommend? How should leaders, political, economic, business leaders think about trust and how to make it grow?
We all should be thinking about trust, even individual citizens, the way we behave, the extent to which we trust others, and we honor our commitments, we honor our promises. That helps developing trust. Then in companies, CEOs and chairmen and chairwomen, chairpersons should walk their talk, should act as they said they would, particularly under pressure. And they should try to balance the interest of all those that have committed capital, human capital, and environmental capital to the progress of the company. Now, in terms of political leadership, I think that that's where the challenge is more important. Our economic system of free markets is extremely efficient, generating wealth, but we are having a hard time at making sure that the system is stable. It doesn't create financial crisis or excessive inflation, as we have seen and experienced over the recent years. And also, we expect from our leadership honorable behavior, right? So I think that the way from political systems to improve trust is to undertake more stability-oriented economic policies, to communicate to the population that there's no free lunch, that things are not free, they are costly, to try to moderate the degree of indebtedness of the public sector, of the private sector, to aim for stability. And then our codes of conduct for leaders should be high standards and highly respected in terms of whoever misbehaves. Society should clearly see that there are consequences. Sometimes this has not been the case, and I believe that that has hurt the credibility and has created mistrust on the part of the population.
Mm-hmm. So this is a call to responsibility, I think, no? That you are presenting also in a way in this book in the main conclusions, in understanding that what we do really matters. It will eventually have an impact on trust and therefore also on the functioning of an organization and the entire system that we have. Thanks, Jordi. We need to go. Thanks for taking this call and responding so quickly and so much in detail. And then we'll relegate our viewers and listeners to the book. So thanks so much, Jordi. Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Franz. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.